Hello everybody and welcome back to Growing in the Cove. My name is Stacy and I garden in Zone 5B, Newfoundland. It is a beautiful morning in the garden and I thought I would give you a quick look around. It's 7 a.m. so it is early, but the sun is coming out. It was perfect filming conditions a little while ago, but I'm just going to do my best and give you a look around. There are some things not blooming, but I feel like there's enough to show kind of the structure of the garden and all of the texture and color of the fresh foliage that's coming out. So if you're interested to see that, please keep watching. Good morning, everybody. I thought I would film a really quick front garden tour. There are weeds galore and I definitely need to get out and weed this garden, but it is looking really pretty right now. And I just love all of the color and the texture and how it just kind of knits together. So I thought, why not give you a little look at this front border. So first of all, we have my hedge of lady's mantle, which goes down the length of the driveway. And it is a prolific self-seeder, so I do tend to, as soon as these flowers start to look a little bit spent, I will cut all of them back because I do find it self-sows a lot. I'm gonna just try and point out things of note right now. These are in their first time blooming, these bearded irises. These were just a few that I divided and put here. And look at these incredible colors. Oh, I love irises so much. So in my experience, when you plant an iris, oh gosh, look what I did. When you plant an iris, it takes at least 3 years for any of mine to bloom. But look at these incredible, incredible colors. I love bearded iris. So it's really nice to finally see those blooming. I've got some lavender plants. I grew these from seed. These are English lavenders. They're doing really good. Yellowing foliage that you'll see is pretty much ready to be cut back, and that's old daffodil foliage. Some of my favorite plants in the garden are my helenium sneezeweed, which I do have clumps of all throughout this front border, and once it starts blooming it is incredible, and you can see it's kind of budded up. I do like to have a lot of drought resistant plants, especially in the front. So I do have these sedums. I have multiple sedums throughout the garden. This one is called Matrona. What I like about this one is it has dark purple leaves. I think that's so pretty. Got more lavender here. This is one of my favorite perennials, and it is Nepeta cat's pajamas. And just look at that. And this will bloom all summer. If you just keep cutting it back, it will just rebloom and rebloom and rebloom. And it looks amazing as a hedge. It kind of gives that effect of lavender. I do also have a lot of primroses dotted around the border. So I also have a lot of these are going to seed. And then got some more sedums. I do like to have different colors of foliage. I think looks so beautiful together. So I've got some Autumn Joy sedums. They're a classic that are in a lot of people's gardens. And these beautiful spireas, which I've kind of repeated throughout the garden. These are Gold Mound spireas, an old classic. I have one there, I have one there, I have one way in the back. So I think it just looks so pretty. Over here, these beautiful geraniums. I have multiple geraniums throughout my garden, and these are some of the best performers. This is called Ballerina, and it is a beautiful, see if we can focus, this beautiful purple. And it's got a lighter lavender with this sort of dark veining. Absolutely gorgeous. And then coming along, I've got some other things that are not in bloom yet. This is Maltese Cross. I've got a daylily. I've got some Veronica. Here, I love this patch of pretty mature heuchera. This is Palace Purple, which is a very, very old classic. I need to pull that. That's driving me crazy. This is an old classic, but I find it has overwintered for me so well. And I have propagated it, and I'm actually going to show a video of how I propagate it. I've got some foxgloves dotted all around the garden, which are budding up, so that's exciting. And then a new perennial to me this year, and again, I like to repeat foliage colors, so I've got a dark purple, and the dark purple of the Wine and Roses Weigela. But this is a new perennial I've planted this year, and it's a penstemon, and look at the color of the leaves. I've got 3 of them here, and it's called Dakota Burgundy. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Such a unique perennial. I just love it. Here, this is a self-seeded lupin. I'm probably not going to let it stay in the garden because I am worried about it reseeding prolifically. And if you live in Newfoundland, lupins are almost a weed here. This is a new perennial I've added to my garden, which is going to be blooming soon, hopefully, and it is called Stacky's Humilo, also known as Betony, I think, purple Betony. So looking forward to that. I've got lots of little pansies that I grew from seeds that I saved last year. The ones that I collected it from kind of looked like this pansy, so it's been really cool to see all of the variation and colors. So that's been, yeah, it was kind of similar to this, what I collected my seeds from. Look at that, beautiful. So this front part of my garden is really under renovation here. I'm going to be filling in with some more perennials and some annuals because I've moved around a lot of plants. You will see I have 1, 2, and 3 little metal arches, and in there I have sweet peas that are growing up, and I probably have to tie those in soon. I've got a lot of peonies in this bed that are going to be popping soon. Very excited. This is a coral charm. I find that when you plant them bare root, they take so long to actually become anything. I think these ones here are year 5, and they're only now really putting on a show. So still exciting though. I've got more bearded irises planted here, but they only went in last year. So again, I find I still got another year before they will bloom. I've got some beautiful hardy geraniums. For some reason, this one is always smaller than the others. And I do have Mrs. Bradshaw Geum, which is starting to bloom. Again, I just love these little pansies. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this front garden here of this front part. But I do love the way that everything kind of knits together, and I'm kind of looking for that really full look. So I definitely have some blank spots in the garden that need to be filled in. I have some plants for here, but I am happy with how it's progressing. And again, a garden takes a really long time to mature and look really full. So that's the front border. I want to show you this area in front of my front window. So look at this show of columbine. All of these were grown from a packet of seed a few years ago, and look at these. Beautiful. They're all in shades of pink and purple. They're also known as Aquilegia, or I think some people call them granny's bonnets. and they are simply stunning. I love the height that they give and that really wispy fairy texture. I do find they self-seed prolifically and get a little bit out of hand, but honestly, I planted more this year and I am loving the way they look. I do try to cut them down when they go to seed because honestly, the reseeding is insane. But I love this. I also have a clematis on this trellis, which I really need to tie up because it's kind of coming out into the garden. Look at this bee. And then I've got this rhododendron, purple passion, which is blooming. Rhodos are my favorite shrubs. I've got some foxglove that are looking so lush. Can't wait to see those. I mean, look at this. Absolutely beautiful. This was the Barlow mix if you're looking to grow columbine from seed. And here, this is stunning. This is an azalea. I do not know what it's called, but look at the colors. This was planted by the last people who lived here. Look at that. Beautiful. And this thing was almost destroyed by my first dog, but now it's looking so healthy. The bleeding heart is coming to an end. My only issue with the old-fashioned bleeding hearts is that they are ephemeral, meaning after they are done blooming, they just kind of disappear, and then I have a big hole in the garden. So I've been trying to plant things to fill it out, but anyway. And then along the front, I've got more of my Pallas purple heucheras. Absolutely love them. I've got some astrantias here, which will be coming into bloom soon. Another one of my favorite perennials. I've got some clumps of veronica, astilbe, monkshood, lots of stuff that's going to be coming out in here soon. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this garden is looking, but again, I need to rein in that clematis. Got some sweet williams that have self-seeded there as well. So yeah, I really love a full look in a garden. And then we move along to this garden, which is looking really pretty. So this one I really put a lot of effort into last year into redesigning. You can see the sun is coming up a little bit. And I like to have a really full look with a lot of texture, especially in this bed. And yeah, let's give you a look at what's going on. If I start over on this end, you can see I have some new plants that I need to plant. But over here, I have just kind of redesigned this area in the spring, and I have moved some plants around so they are kind of languishing a little bit, but I think it's going to look nice once it fills in. This geum is one of my favorite of all times. It's called Borisii, and it came from my grandmother's garden, so it's extra special. But I've actually collected seeds on it last year, and I winter sowed them, and they're doing excellent. My apologies for the construction. My entire street is under massive construction. I didn't expect them to be working today. Another one of my favorite perennials, this is pretty bomb-proof. I know a lot of people have this in their garden. It is called Euphorbia polychroma, or cushion spurge. I love it, and it's very drought resistant. This garden is very dry. And this year I've got some freshly planted liatris, which is also called Blazing Star. I've got this massive peony that was planted by the last live years of this house, and I believe it's Kansas. And you can see the ants are on these buds. You don't need ants to open up a peony, but I think it's more of like a beneficial mutualistic relationship, and they get, I think it's the sticky sap off the buds, but they don't need ants to bloom. That is a common misconception. I've got this beautiful dark purple Diablo 9 bark. I've got a stand of sedums. They are a great bulletproof perennial. I've got more of these geums, and even the seed heads. Once the The flowers don't last long, but I love this color. But even once the petals fall off, I still love the texture it gives. So I am growing more of these to add in clumps because I just love them. We've got a Jack Frost Brunnera here. My other one came back really tiny. And one of my favorite parts of this garden, other than I love this euonymus shrub and the color it gives, I love these Solomon seal. They are incredible perennials. I got a few pieces, I think last year, off of a local gardener, and they have filled in beautifully. I've got a rose back there. In the back, I have, I think it's Persicaria polymorpha. What's that called? Not goat's beard. I can't remember what that's called. Anyway, looking for that to fill in, looking forward to that. This is a beautiful new heuchera that's a new addition to my garden. This is called Caramel, and I just think, what a color. I have 2 added. Got another one there, and I just bought another one the other day. Now for more irises. Absolutely beautiful. Look at this color. So I got these from a lady's garden a few years ago, and she told me she wasn't sure of the variety name, but I ended up with this really cool purple with the yellow throat. And then I have this warmer kind of chocolatey purple as well. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at these beautiful pansies. And yeah, here is somewhat of a herb garden mixed in. I like to have it really close to my front door so I can just come out and snip what I want. So I've got thyme, I've got chives, oregano, which if I'm not careful can be a crazy reseeder. I've also got some sage there. You can see in the back I've got some foxgloves, I got more roses, and I actually just added a baptisia. So, sorry for the shaky camera and the construction, but I just thought I would show you this garden because I really do love it. Now that my vegetable garden is finally getting settled, I'm looking forward to getting out here and doing some maintenance and redesigning a few things. But it makes me really happy to especially come around this corner of the house and look at it from this perspective, and I can see the beautiful structure of this garden that I have created, and I love it so much. And this is just kind of something to consider, that if you are building a garden, that it's always a good idea to think about not just what a flower looks like when it's in bloom, but think about the texture of when things are not blooming. Because when you have a lot of contrasting colors and textures and different leaf types, that creates a lot more interest when you have a silver color with a green, with an orange, with a deep purple, you know, with spiky leaves versus soft leaves versus smooth leaves. All of that makes a garden look more interesting. So that's something I'm always reminding myself to do, because I think it just looks beautiful and it's something I admire in other people's gardens. So thank you for joining me, and have a great day.